Hello. Hi, you guys. Good morning. I know I usually show up live. I usually show up live in my kitchen. Yeah, hi, you guys. Good morning. I usually show up live in my kitchen, so this is me in the middle of a workday. It's a very interrupted workday. Usually I'm fasting right now, so I want to talk a little bit about that. But on my Wednesday today, I was scheduled for an interview. I was being interviewed by somebody else this morning about my CGM course, and my internet just died 2 minutes into our start. So, and it didn't come back on. I have Starlink internet, and it was out for half an hour. So I found some, data on my phone, and we just rescheduled. But it's really stressful when that happens, especially when I'm like, I got my good shirt on, I'm all ready for my interview, and bam. But what that brought up for me was it's my fasting day. And I don't always recommend fasting to people, but sometimes I do. And those of you who follow me know that I've been working on fasting. I've been utilizing fasting in my program. And most weeks I do a 24 or 30-hour fast. I'll have lunch, like I had lunch on Tuesday, yesterday, and then I don't eat. I'll just have water, herbal tea, or electrolytes, and then I'll have dinner tonight. That's my plan. But I noticed the last time I fasted, I actually took a week off. The last time I fasted, I stopped early because I was traveling. I was actually with my friend Amy and our daughters, and we were going up to visit our friend Cheryl. The three of us are old friends. And we had car trouble on the way up, and it was really stressful. And I was like, oh, I cannot fast with this much stress. That's what gets me. That's what gets me. And I know a lot of you have probably tried fasting or have thought about fasting, and thinking about fasting is actually harder than actually doing fasting, frankly. But I think it's important to know, when do you just say, this isn't a good fasting day for me. I think I just need to get back on eating. Or when do you say, no, I'm gonna push through this. I think this is okay. That can be tricky. I have a lot of confidence with my fasting, I think, because I use a continuous glucose monitor off and on. I'm not right now, but I've used it enough to know what a blood sugar issue feels like. When is this a blood sugar thing? When is it going to be solved by food? And when is it not a blood sugar thing? And when it's a real crisis. So doing that has given me a lot of confidence in knowing when I actually should eat and when it's just a little freak out moment for me. And it's also helped me regulate my blood sugar enough so that I can fast. Because people with blood sugar that's really dysregulated, they have a hard time fasting because their fuel partitioning and their system doesn't work very well. Yeah, because normally, humans are really good at either using the glucose in their food for energy and storing some away, so that later when they're fasting, sleeping, whatever, they can utilize that stored energy, usually the stored fat, and they can use that for fuel. So and their liver's really good at maintaining a steady state of glucose and energy, and you're good to go. But especially closer you get to diabetes is a fuel partitioning issue. Your body isn't good at toggling back and forth between those things sometimes. So it takes some training, and so it took me a while because of stress. Stress is my big one. If I'm under a lot of stress, if I'm not sleeping well, or I'm eating a lot of high glycemic foods, then fasting is really hard for me, and I don't think it's good for me. So I'm in a place where I can fast for 24, 30 hours once a week easily. And I make sure I make up for it. I actually eat plenty of food. I eat anyways, I'm not starving myself. Let's just put it that way. But what do I do today? I noticed that when I had car trouble on that road trip with my friends, I was like, oh, I cannot fast anymore. I'm stressed out about this. I'm worried we're going to break down. We've got to find a thing. And I'm like, I'm going to eat. So today I have this internet trouble, and all of a sudden I feel my hunger come up. I'm getting a headache. Do I stop fasting? this is what I've learned. One, if I'm getting a headache fasting, and for me, and other people too, headaches are a big thing fasting. And I usually ward them off with prevention. And I didn't do a very good job with that this morning. And for me, I need to drink salt. I need to take in more salt. And the way I get salt is I use electrolytes. I use the LMNT electrolytes. I should put that in the comments here. So the LMNT electrolytes are really nice because they're pretty high in salt and they're tasty. I'm going to just look this up. Yeah. I'll use those pretty regularly first thing in the morning, and every maybe 2 or 3 hours I'll have another little bit just to keep a good level of salt in my diet for the day. I'm putting this in the comments, LMNT sample pack. And so I don't think I did a good job preventing that today, and it might mean I stopped fasting earlier. But what I did when I realized, wow, I have a headache and I just had a bunch of stress, which will actually spike my blood sugar. I've seen that. Something really stressful, even if you're not eating, spikes your blood sugar. It's just your body's. It's your body's way of preparing you to survive a stressful situation. So what I did is I drank my electrolytes, and I'm going to see how it goes. I'll see how I feel for the next hour or so. And if I start feeling worse, I'll break my fast. And if I don't feel worse, then I'll just keep going. I think I was talking to a client about this yesterday. Actually, I've talked to 2 clients about this week. We get afraid of feeling hungry. The feeling of hunger triggers, for some people, it triggers a lot of old trauma. But we're just afraid of being hungry, like there's something wrong. And I don't approach fasting from the standpoint of depriving myself. I'm not trying to I'm not fasting to deprive myself of calories. I'm fasting because I know in the fasted state, there's a house cleaning that goes on in the gut that kind of sweeps everything through, and it resets my digestive system. It cleans things out. For people who have SIBO, the small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, a lot of dysbiosis, fasting can really reset that and be great doing it on a regular basis for your microbiome. I know people who manage their SIBO with a nice long overnight fast every day and then doing a periodic fast like I'm doing. It's great for that. Also, you might have heard of autophagy, where your body kind of figures out what cells are, done and they need to be got rid of. And it's a bit of a healing process that your body goes through. And that gets leveled up when you're fasting. It's a real longevity tool to do fasting. So it's something that's oddly nourishing to my body. I think of it as something I'm doing for my body that's really nourishing and helpful to me. And approaching it that way is is much better for me psychologically than trying to fast so I can lose weight, because that doesn't work. And I can tell you that fasting to lose weight, like depriving yourself in order to lose weight, rarely works. It almost always backfires. I do not recommend it. So if you're trying fasting, like I am, that's what I recommend, is front load your day and prevent the headaches, prevent the things. Fast on a day that's not going to be as stressful. I like to be busy on my fasting days. I like to be working and busy so I'm distracted, because most of my hunger and I want to eat something, it's just me thinking about food. Hunger comes and goes. Hunger does not build throughout the day. So I am not hungrier now than I was last night at bedtime, right? When I skipped dinner, I was like, oh, I am kind of hungry, and I made a nice dinner for the rest of my family. I felt hungry. I wanted to eat. At 9:30 at night when I went to bed, I don't remember. My hunger wasn't worse. It just kind of comes and goes, and I'm okay. And I know my body can fast for 8 hours overnight. If it can fast 8 hours overnight and do okay, it can fast for 24 hours. It's really set up to do that. So that's what I'm doing today. I know stress is going to kick me out of this, and it might be a problem. But you might have a different trigger. If you're fasting, there might be something else. It might be your blood sugar. In that case, I always recommend I pat my arm because that's where people put their continuous glucose monitor. It might be using one of those to see, is this a blood sugar issue, or is this just a stress issue, or is this just in my head being afraid of being hungry? All right. Well, I've got to go. I've got a class to teach at noon. I hope you guys are having a good day. And ask in the thread here, ask me about fasting. I'd love to have a conversation and hear what you're doing with fasting that's working. What do you want to do? What makes you nervous about fasting? Because it's not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people. All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.